What is up, Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where I cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And yes, I do this fresh. I do the intro every single episode. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you've been enjoying the show or listening to the show frequently, if you could share the show, rate the show, subscribe. That just helps me get in front of more people, which helps me help more people, which is the goal of this show. So on today's episode, I will be talking about how to raise your testosterone without hormone replacement therapy. So in general, I am pro hormone replacement therapy, but I think people go to that solution too quickly. And once you go on hormone replacement therapy, usually it downregulates your body's natural production of testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, whatever hormones you're getting replaced. And usually, especially if you're under the age of 40, unless you've gone through perimenopause or you're in perimenopause or whatnot, usually what I notice is there are a lot of low-hanging fruits for a lot of clients. I'm not saying they're easy, but there are things that you can do to naturally raise your testosterone, just improve your overall hormonal profile. And this goes for men and women. All the stuff I'm going to talk about is true for men and women across the board. So if you're a woman listening to this, you're like, why the hell am I going to listen to this? And it's like, well, this could actually benefit you really well too. And if you don't have enough testosterone, it's going to be really hard to build muscle and lose body fat. So it's really important for not just that, but also brain function, energy levels, libido, motivation, mood. Oftentimes people with depression, anxiety, and there was something else. I forgot. Depression and anxiety tend to have lower levels of testosterone, but it's because they're not doing the things that I'm going to talk about today. So let's dig in. So number one thing, sleep. Sleep is super, super important. I've talked about this a lot. I have an episode on how to improve your sleep. I don't remember the episode, but I think it's called How to Sleep Like a Baby. So if you look up Fit Habit Life, How to Sleep Like a Baby, you can find it and it'll tell you how to sleep like a baby. So sleep is super important. One poor night of sleep can drop your natural testosterone level in half, but you get back to your sleep routine, it'll slowly go back up to optimal levels for your body. Sleep is super important. And just in general, like sleeping when I'm dead, like that statement is so dumb because your quality of life is going to be terrible. If you're tired all the time, you're going to be inflamed. You're probably going to have a lot of cravings. You're going to have less self-control. So probably more likely to be overweight and under-muscled. That tends to be the case. And if you're super tired all the time, it's going to be really hard to train and to train effectively. As I said, cravings tends to cause blood sugar issues as well. Can cause like poor nights of sleep, elevated cortisol, leads to insulin resistance. So sleep, crucial, super important. Once you got that dialed in, this next thing should be a lot better. Stress. Stress affects your natural testosterone levels. In general, higher levels of stress deprioritize reproductive hormones because, like my analogy I used in the last episode when I was talking about gut health, if your body is in a very stressed state, it's in a fight or flight state, and your body perceives all stressors the same. So if you're under a lot of stress, your body thinks you might be being chased down by a lion and you need to survive. If you need to survive, your body does not want you to stop and mate and get pregnant if you're a woman. So it's going to decrease your libido, increase your anxiety, right? Be on high alert, and move blood flow away from reproductive organs towards your muscles and your brain. So stress. So what do you do? Stress management. Not only should you have like worst case, like I'm super stressed out, like I have this protocol to go through, like, maybe you take a retreat, a restful retreat, or you go on a little short vacation with your significant other, or you take a whole day or weekend without tech and just go outside in nature. But you don't always have the opportunity to do that. So managing your stress day to day is going to be crucial. In the last episode, I talked about removing things from your plate. And that's the hardest thing to do, especially if you're type A like myself, because you feel like a failure for not being able to do all the things. But then once you remove the thing, you're like, you know what? I actually feel a hell of a lot better. And I'm so glad that I don't have to worry about that anymore. So remove stuff from your plate, manage your day-to-day stress better by having just daily practices that help ground you. So it could be meditation, journaling, going on a walk outside without tech. It could be having 30 minutes to an hour every day to do something for yourself, like do a puzzle, like I talked about I've been doing. But yeah, manage your stress and remove things from your plate if you can. Obviously, there's always going to be busy seasons, but you need restful seasons too, because if you're running 120% all the time, you're going to burn out. I've been there. I've been recovering from burnout for the past couple months, so don't push yourself to that brink. It's not worth it. And that's going to lower your levels of testosterone, which is going to make it harder to lean out, build muscle, and stay in a healthy body composition. So number 3, I'm just going to talk about nutrition in general. If you're chronically dieting, you have low levels of testosterone, period. Women, men, you have low levels of testosterone if you've been in an extreme diet for extended periods of time. So how do you get out of that? You fuel your body, you get back to maintenance, or you even focus on building muscle and being in a slight surplus in order to get your body to a less physiologically stressed state. So I say underfueling causes low levels of testosterone. Overfueling, being obese and having a higher body fat percentage, can also cause high levels or lower levels of testosterone, because more of that testosterone that your body creates will be converted to estrogen. Is more complicated science than I usually talk about, and I'm not a big sciencey person. I'm more of like a, hey, what does this thing do? Or how does this apply? Kind of thing. So I remember the application of things, but not necessarily the little nuanced sciencey details, which I'm trying to get better at. But anyway, for today, don't remember it. So it converts to estrogen, and higher levels of estrogen lead to a lot of not great things for men. Same with women. So you want to be in a healthy body fat percentage. So for women, that's usually around 20 to 30% ish. It's like there are women who are like 34% that are really healthy hormonally, good energy levels, insulin sensitive. And there are some women who can be like 18% that still have, even 17% that still have like healthy hormone profile. Those are very, very rare. Very rare on both ends of the spectrum. So I say about 20 to 30% for women, healthy body fat percentage. For men, it's like 10 to 20%. 10 is kind of low for a lot of men, so it might be more like 12 to 20% for men, but upwards of 20% usually is a little too high. But as I said, that's just is a bell curve. So there are some people, higher or lower body fat percentages than those ranges, that tend to be okay hormonally. But try to be in the middle of the range and you'll be just fine. And then overtraining and undertraining. Actually, well, I'm going to go back to that because we're still on nutrition here. So, underfueling is usually the biggest one, to be honest. Overfueling, yes, but usually either people who are overweight don't really care, or they do and they're actively making changes. And sometimes people who are underfueling are overweight and their body fat percentage is too high. So I've seen that a lot. I've had clients come to me, they're trying to lose weight and they're eating 1,200 calories a day. And I'm like, dude, I'm not cutting your calories any lower. We have to build those up. Like, I know you want to lose body fat, but your body's in a super stressed state. And I'm a health coach first. Yeah, I'm going to help you lose body fat and build muscle, but I care more about your overall health than about how you look. And you should too, like in general. Anyway, so yeah, underfueling. So if you're doing that, don't underfuel. Try to slowly increase your calories over time and find your top end of maintenance. And top end of maintenance is when you're probably about 5 pounds up from where you are now, but the scale's not moving anymore. Usually that's 3 to 5 pounds, depending, because your body's holding more water, glycogen in the muscles, and all that stuff. And you're eating more food, so you're going to have more food in your body day to day, which is going to cause the number on the scale to be higher because it's gravity. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. And yes, so make sure you're not underfueling. And then something that's really common is, I've noticed, low fat. I don't know why, but a lot of people I've been talking to lately, it's either one end of the spectrum or the other. But if you're not eating enough fat in your diet, your hormone profile is not optimal. Fat is very, very important for a healthy hormone profile. It's also very, very important for nutrient absorption. So women, lowest I would ever have a woman is 50 grams of fat a day. Ideally closer to 60, 65 grams is like a sweet spot for women for the most part. And men, lowest I would have a man is 70 grams of fat a day. Ideally closer to 80, 85 grams a day. And that's across the board what I've noticed. So most people feel better at a fat intake at about that. And there's been a lot of women recently have been having to increase their fat intake. They're eating like 30, 40 grams a day. And I'm like, that's not enough. We need to bump that. And then with men, it's either or. Well, actually women as well, because a lot of women, give me a second, y'all. Sorry about that yawn. A lot of women have done like low carb, no carbs. So it's like they're either high fat, high protein, low protein, high fat, low carb, or they're really, really high protein and almost no other macronutrient. So, yeah. So there's really no in between. There's not a lot of women who are in the nice sweet spot of fat intake, and you can eat more fat than that. I would caution for performance sake, like I wouldn't push fat too high because then you can't get enough carbs in your diet. And fat has more calories than carbs do. It's good for you and it's important, but we want to prioritize carbohydrates for performance. So anyway, so fat intake, bare minimum, is about 65 grams a day for women is what I would try to shoot for. 85 grams a day for men. Again, nice sweet spot I've noticed for most clients. Then protein. Protein is really important too, especially if you're training. You need protein to build muscle and recover. So protein about 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight or of ideal weight. So if you're like trying to lose 20 pounds, whatever your weight is, minus 20 pounds, try to shoot for that protein intake. And if you're plus or minus 10 to 20 grams up or down, you're probably fine. And then the rest of the calories, fill in with carbs. Carbs are really important too. And they help you get better quality sleep, especially my menopausal women. And they help your performance, which leads to the next thing, training. Training is super important for testosterone levels. Doing a set of squats can give you a testosterone boost. Because muscle is very important for hormonal health. Science is escaping me again, but just trust me on this topic. Training is good for your hormone profile. Most of us sit on our butts all day. We don't train, we don't get sunlight. Training is going to help you build muscle, which is going to help your body composition, which is going to help your overall hormone profile. and it's going to help your insulin sensitivity. So the more muscle you have, the better your body can utilize carbohydrates, and the better your body can regulate blood sugar levels, which reduces just overall inflammation. If it's constantly elevated, you're going to have some systemic inflammation going on, which again, inflammation doesn't make you fat. It's just not good for you to have all the time. Inflammation is a natural part of the body. Right now, I'm sore. I've started a new training block, and I've had a couple poor nights of sleep, and I've been pushing pretty hard in the gym. And so every muscle in my body's kind of sore. So I'm a little bit inflamed, but that's normal. That's natural. Inflammation is a natural process to shuttle nutrients to those muscle tissue and to help the body recover. But if your body's constantly inflamed all the time, that's too much stress on the system. So anyway, training good, but there is a right dose. So usually, most clients I work with, 2 to 4 times a week of strength training is perfect. More than that is too much, usually, because we have other stressors in our life, and training is a stress on the body that the body has to recover from. So if you have a lot of other stress going on, as I was talking about before, your body, all stress is the same to your body. So mental, emotional stress is perceived the same as stress from the gym. And your body needs to recover in order to rebuild and repair that muscle tissue. So 2 to 4 times a week of strength training, perfect dose for most people. And so I was saying overtraining and undertraining. If you're not strength training at all, start. 1 day a week will be plenty because you're not doing anything right now, but you need to train. You need to utilize your muscle tissue. You need to try to get strong. That's going to help you age well. It's going to help your natural hormone profile. And it's going to help prevent a bunch of other chronic diseases like osteoporosis, osteopenia, just falling and breaking a hip as you age. I've had one saddest, my grandpa, my dad's dad, he fell. I mean, he was very active actually, like until he passed. But he fell shoveling the ice off of his driveway, and because of that, he got internal bleeding and then ended up passing away because they had to sedate him, and he wasn't going to survive. He was having organ failure because of the severity of the internal issue. And I don't know if that would have been prevented if he was stronger, because he slipped on ice. They lived in Montreal, right? So, but a lot of older people pass away because they fall and break a hip, or they fall and can't get up. So try to avoid that. Get strong. Like, focus on being strong and building muscle and staying healthy and active. And that's going to help prevent not only reduction in hormone profile, but also like quality of life is going to increase, and future injury risk is going to decrease. So anyway, train appropriately. And I have a lot of episodes that kind of break down training, so go back and look them up. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But yeah, train. And then I'd say this is probably the last one, and I'm going to kind of add in a couple different things, but movement. In general, movement is really important for your body's optimal functioning. It uses your muscles. It keeps you insulin sensitive. Usually, if you're moving, you're going outside and getting sunlight, which is very important for natural hormone production and energy levels. So move. Get 8,000+ steps a day. You don't need to get more than that if you don't have the time to. Usually I say more movement, the better. I'd say up to like 12, maybe extreme cases, 15,000 steps a day, but usually like 12,000 a day is totally plenty. But that's going to help. That's going to help your body's natural process. It's going to help your digestion, which also helps your body's ability to work optimally, because if your digestion's running well, then you're using the food that you're consuming, so your body can do all the things that it has to do, which includes producing and regulating your hormones. So, and walking outside without tech, very great stress reduction hack, which will help your testosterone levels. So anyway, that's kind of the gist. And the reason I'm talking about natural ways is because I live in Utah. And in Utah, there are med spas everywhere. And a lot of people go into med spas, get their blood drawn, and their testosterone is terrible. Well, a lot of those people are also overweight, not active, don't strength train, have very poor diet, don't move their bodies at all, and don't sleep enough and are overly stressed. So yeah, no shit, your testosterone is terrible. Like, I mean, your lifestyle is terrible. So most of the processes of your body aren't going to function super well. So focus on the basics first. If you're doing all these things and you're still having problems, next step, gut health. I've talked about my husband's story. If you want to hear it, go to What's Wrong with Joe. We went to a med spa. We got his hormones checked before we knew it was a gut health issue. And his testosterone was mid-range. It's like 450 or something, which that's not great. But that's not a sign that his body isn't producing testosterone. It's like your body's still producing testosterone. It's just low. So what is going on to prevent your body's optimal production of testosterone? He was overly stressed physiologically. Like, we didn't know, but it was like his gut health was really poor. And it took a big situation, family life, and just overall life situation to help get extreme physiological symptoms that got us going to the emergency room, and then it got us going the route of gut testing, where we identified that he had this severe, like really, really bad gut dysbiosis. So we addressed the gut health issue, or we are in the process of. It's a lot better than it was. Sometimes it takes a couple rounds, but his testosterone has improved because we addressed part of the problem that was causing his testosterone to be lower. So before even, again, basics first, gut health next. Then, if after we figure out his whole thing, his testosterone still is not optimal, he still feels like crap, yeah, then we're probably going to get him on testosterone replacement therapy. But why do that if there's other things, there's low-hanging fruit that you could optimize that will help your body naturally produce what it should? And this is exactly what I do with my clients. We focus on the basics first because that's going to lead to a healthier body composition, which is going to help your natural production of hormones, your gut health, your quality of life, your energy levels, your mood, your digestion, all the things. Then, if there's still other symptoms, we address the gut health because that is so important and so crucial, because that affects how your body utilizes nutrients. And that will affect your hormones, your brain function. You don't need a drug. You probably just need to do the basics better, address whatever lingering gut health issues. And then if you're over the age of 35, 40, you might need hormone replacement. And that's totally okay. Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy can be life-changing. I have family members, clients, friends who are older than me that are on it, and it's been a huge game changer. But do the basics first, please. That's going to help so much. And if you have any other questions about this, feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram. My profile is below. We can chat through this. But yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about because it's like, yeah, no kidding. The med spas want you on other pellets. You have to go back there every 3 months and pay them like a bunch of money every year. Of course they want you on those. You know, it's a business, right? But that's not ethical. And they have to put you on more than you need. Because if your body, let's say you do need it, but you're not doing the basics. If you do the basics and you go on it, you'll probably need less than if you do it now, aren't doing the basics. It doesn't even work that well anyway because your body can't utilize it super well, and it might be still converting it to estrogen because you're overweight. And it's just you're going to downregulate your process, like your body's production even more, because you're going to have to be on more than you would otherwise. And a lot of those med spas do it by feel, not by actual numbers. So you might be way overdoing it, which can cause a whole slew of other issues. You know, a lot of pro bodybuilders, they have organs that grow way too big. They have organ failure. They have heart conditions and heart issues. So you don't want to be super high level of steroids. Well, testosterone. But anyway, health first, people. Optimize your health. Get healthy. Focus on getting healthy. You're going to look good. You're going to feel good. You're going to be less dependent upon pharmaceuticals, less likely to go to the hospital, less likely to need hormone replacement super early. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long term. But anyway, if you enjoyed the show, if you could rate the show, share the show, or subscribe, that just helps me help more people, which is the goal of the show. And if you are like, hey, I need some help with this, I need some extra guidance, shoot me a message. We could set up a time to chat and just work through, what the coaching process would look like for you. I mean, it's basically going to be the same thing that I'm talking about on here, but just more accountability, more access to me, more guidance and structure, and less guesswork for you. And I think that's the most underrated thing about having a coach is just less guesswork. The coach knows. The coach is going to optimize. The coach is going to help you get there the quickest way possible without overdoing it, and making sure you sustain those results if the coach is good. There's a lot of crappy coaches out there that make you do way too much, way more than you need to, and put you on low-fat diets that reduce your body's natural production of testosterone. There's been 3 conversations I've had this week with men whose fat intake is abysmal. So anyway, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to chat and help you through the process. But otherwise, thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.